Good morning and welcome to this week's press conference. Today, we are excited to introduce you to Strategic Consulting Partners. We hired Strategic Consulting Partners to lead us in creating a plan to make diversity, equity, and inclusion a part of everything we do here in Erie. As I've said many times, if I only accomplish one thing as mayor of Erie, I want to eliminate racism and prejudice in our city. I want every person in Erie to feel accepted and valued for the unique talents, skills, and abilities that each one of us possesses. After taking office, my team and I created several councils to advise us on policies and initiatives which will help us realize our vision of Erie as a city that celebrates our rich cultural diversity. We meet regularly with these councils, and they include the Mayor's Roundtable on Disabilities, the Mayor's Business Council, Labor Roundtable, Strengthening Police Community Partnerships, or SPCP for short, the Mayor's LGBTQ+ Advisory Council, the New American Council, the Better Together Council, the Erie Neighborhood Growth Partnership, and the Historically Black Affiliation Council. In addition, we also recently formed the Arp Council of Advisors, which includes representatives from the above advisory councils I just mentioned, as well as individuals from the African American Concerned Clergy, the United Clergy of Erie, the City Planning Commission, the Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership, the Minority Community Investment Coalition, and members of City Council. We also appointed a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Project Review Team. This team is comprised of a diverse cross-section of the community with skills set in finance, banking, the law, redevelopment, economic and community development, entrepreneurship, real estate, and business. This team will evaluate the ARP application being submitted to our Department of Economic and Community Development and make recommendations to City Council and the Mayor's administration. When we presented the Activating Our Vision Plan back in January of 2020, we outlined several goals related to diversifying our workforce. We wanted the city workforce to more closely resemble the community that we serve by increasing diverse representation on authorities, boards, and commissions, and by implementing initiatives to foster diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have already achieved or exceeded at least half of the 6 key performance indicators in that area. Now, in our work with Strategic Consulting Partners, we will take the following steps. First, we'll review and analyze existing systems, policies, procedures, and initiatives. Second, we'll work with the department heads and key staff to access the current culture within the City of Erie government. Third, we'll conduct interviews with staff and members of our advisory councils. Fourth, we'll review city employee demographic data at all levels. Fifth, we'll benchmark and provide the best practices. And sixth, we'll make actionable recommendations for policies, programs, and initiatives with metrics to foster diversity, equity, and inclusion in city government operations. Now, before we hear directly from Strategic Consulting Partners, I'm proud to introduce to you the man who made this happen, the city's community liaison, Michael Outlaw. Michael, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. And good morning to those in attendance and everyone watching online. Today is another great day for our city government and the residents of Erie. As an administration, we have been meticulous in addressing systemic disparities, policies, and matters of transparency and accountability. As an administration, we are taking another step by turning to the experts to ensure we approach diversity, equity, and inclusion from a holistic vantage point. As a project lead, my encouragement is for the City of Erie employees and members of the Mayor's Advisory Councils to embrace this process and share what you believe will make city government more inclusive. We have the utmost confidence and faith that after this 10-month project is complete, that city government will have policies and best practices to ensure that generations will want to stay, work, and play in Erie, Pennsylvania. I now turn it back over to Mayor Schimber. Mayor?
Thank you very much, Michael. I really appreciate all your work in helping us make this huge step in eliminating racism that might still exist in some city policies and procedures. This is a major move toward making every Erie resident feel like a highly valued part of our community. Thanks for all your work on moving this forward. Now, we go to the people that are going to be the group who will ensure that we value diversity, equity, and inclusion in everything that we do. I'm very proud to welcome and introduce Monica Gold, the president of Strategic Consulting Partners. Monica is with us remotely. She will tell us how this planning process will take place and the timeline for it. Monica, we look forward to all you and your team will do to move Erie forward, and now the floor is yours, Monica.
Thank you, Mayor, for your kind and warm introduction. We're so excited to be here with you today. Thank you for inviting me and the team to share a little bit of information about the project that we're going to be supporting the city with. Our team at Strategic Consulting Partners is thrilled about the great work that we will be doing together over the next year, over the next 10 months or so, to activate the vision for the city of Erie. We're impressed with the great work that you've already completed and that is already underway. We look forward to supporting Erie to become a model city and a community of choice where we can celebrate Erie's rich cultural diversity, welcoming vibrant neighborhoods, world-class downtown and bayfront, excellence in education for everyone, and abundance of family-sustaining jobs. Let me introduce you to some of our team members and to our company so you can get a little bit of an understanding as to why we were selected and how we're going to approach this work. So as you know, I'm Monica Gould. SCP is an award-winning, SCP is our short name, Strategic Consulting Partners, is an award-winning PA-based minority woman-owned business. I founded the company over 27 years ago. I am a first-generation mixed-race immigrant. I'm a former executive in 2 multinational corporations before I founded SCP. This project and the work we'll be doing with the city is my passion, and I'm thrilled to be supported by our local and national experts. I will briefly introduce the SCP team and their role and expertise to support our collective work. Some of our team members are here virtually, and we also have a few team members that are there in person. So Jay Aronowitz is our first team member that I'd like to introduce. Jay is the lead for this project. He's a former federal executive with extensive HR background. He served as the acting deputy assistant secretary of the Army for DEI initiatives, whereby he was responsible for building the Army's first diversity roadmap. He also was the deputy assistant secretary of the Army and Chief Human Capital Officer for the Army civilian workforce of over 250,000 people. Dr. Bob Whitmore, we call him Dr. Bob, is a senior consultant with SCP. He's been with our team for a number of years. He's a current and former municipal leader at the township level. He is a certified strategic planning expert, and he is going to be supporting our data analysis and collection efforts with respect to the benchmarking component of the study. Wanda Savage-Moore. Wanda, do you want to get off camera and just say hi for a moment?
Hello, everyone.
Thanks, Wanda. Wanda Savage-Moore is our senior consultant with SCP. She has over 30 years of DE&I consulting experience with federal, state, and local governments. We're so excited to have her expertise in both qualitative and quantitative analysis on this project. Joe Machetto is another project manager supporting me and the logistics for this project. There are lots of moving parts and folks that we need to speak with, so he'll be supporting those efforts. He has over 20 years of experience managing DEI training programs nationally. And next, we have engaged 2 local Erie-based consultants to support this project, Dr. Paris Baker and Jackie Catabrone. Jackie is remote today, but Dr. Baker is actually on site, so I will be handing the mic over to him in just a moment. Dr. Baker is an Erie resident and a local consultant. He's a professor at Gannon University. He's no stranger to the city. He's provided training and consulting services in this regard in the past. And Dr. Baker will support us in various aspects of the project. Dr. Baker, would you kindly share a few words about this engagement?
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this important engagement. Pull this thing up. That's why you have this. This important project for the city of Erie. Over the past 5 years, I have actively supported and believed in the mayor's vision. And the different I've done that through voluntary and contracted roles. I am very, very excited to be part of this team and provide my expertise in working with the city as we progress through this project. I am thrilled to support Monica and the Strategic Consulting Partners team to develop actionable recommendations for refining our city's policies, procedures, and systems through the diversity, equity, and inclusion lens. Joining me locally is Jackie Catterbon. Jackie, too, is an Erie resident and local consultant with strategic solutions. Jackie's expertise in community engagement will be utilized in this project. Both Jackie and I will look forward to supporting strategic consulting partners and the city. Thank you, Monica. Together, the SPC is a collaborative, cross-sectional team of subject matter experts who have dedicated their lives to fostering inclusive communities where all are not only welcome, but where this community thrives. That's you? Oh, I didn't say that.
Okay, we're going to turn it back over to Monica now.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. Thank you, Dr. Baker. Thank you for your expertise, and we're so excited to work with you on this project. So I'm just going to share a little bit about the project, and certainly can provide more context after this engagement today. This project, as you know, is commissioned by the mayor in alignment with his mission and vision for the city, whereby Erie is a community of choice. And we're going to be celebrating all of the beautiful elements of Erie, including the rich cultural diversity and the welcoming neighborhoods and all the other elements that we discussed earlier. The project will take a holistic view of diversity, equity, and inclusion related to the city's internal policies, procedures, and systems. Our project will utilize a variety of data collection and engagement methods geared to evaluating and examining. And this is just a short list, but there's a longer list, I'm sure, that we'll discover as we're working. Internal policies and procedures, hiring, recruitment, retention strategies, racial and gender equity, inclusive of pay equity, career accession and succession planning, fire and police recruitment, retention, and turnover, policies on community-oriented policing, access to city services, physical, related to people with disabilities, and language access to new Americans, equitable systems and policies for LGBTQ, people of color, Black and Hispanic employees, diversity and vendor procurement programs and systems, access to economic development and community grants, and much, much more. So we're going to be looking at all of those different elements. And the best part of this is that we're going to be guided throughout the process by an esteemed steering committee, and I'm very excited because the mayor is actually heading up the steering committee along with critical members of his staff, department directors, and city council. So the steering committee will be meeting monthly to review the project progress and to garner feedback and input pertinent to the project. We'll meet, we have met already with the steering committee on February 4th for the formal kickoff, and we look forward to working with the committee over the coming 10 months as we unfold the work together. So just to share a little bit about the technical approach to the project and how we're going about our work. You know, as the mayor said, this is a pretty complex project, and it's got lots of steps, and we're going to be engaging lots of different stakeholders. The first step of the project was really to conduct that kickoff and to develop a project plan, which we have completed. And we, as a part of that, is we are partnering with leadership in the city to move this project forward. Secondly, we are meeting now after our kickoff. We're going to be meeting regularly as we discussed. So in phases 2 and 3 of the project, this is where we're doing all the data collection that the mayor referred to. This is where we'll be meeting with stakeholders both within the city and outside of the city. We're going to be meeting with personnel, department leaders. We'll be conducting some focus groups and some other things and other activities during the 2nd and 3rd phases. So these phases will run simultaneously, phases 2 and 3. And during these phases, we'll be looking at the policies and collecting and identifying policies, utilizing internal staff to identify some challenging areas. In phase 4, we'll synthesize the data we collected and provide you and the city with a report of findings. We're going to be highlighting both the strengths and opportunities for enhancement of DE&I. There are so many great things the city is doing. We want to celebrate those and at the same time identify some areas of opportunity. We're going to synthesize this into a report of findings and provide a full assessment of the internal policies and procedures and systems. In the final phase, SCP will provide a recommendations and actions report with concrete measurements and ideas as to how the city can move forward. Our project outcomes are fairly simple. They're going to be hard to get to, but they're very simple. First is we want to benchmark the best practices of municipal government. Who's doing some great things out in the community, and how can we learn from that? Our actionable recommendations for policies will be the next piece. We're going to be looking at policies, programs, and initiatives and providing the city with some recommendations and actions to move forward. And as I mentioned, we're going to be looking at everything from internal policies to recruitment policies to succession planning to access to city services, policies on community policing, and looking at systems and programs related to vendor procurement, finance, and all of those other elements that the city connects to its residents and citizens through. So together and through this study, we're excited to move the city forward and move it towards the mayor's mission of building opportunity, restoring hope, and transforming Erie. Lastly, I just want to thank you, Mayor, for your foresight and for the opportunity to discuss this project today with the community. We look forward to working with you, your esteemed steering committee and cabinet over the coming months to direct this project. For the press, feel free to contact me with any questions that you may have. We look forward to working with all of you and seeing you in the coming months. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Monica. It is really great to see you and hear your plans, and we really look forward to working with you and your team. Also, thanks especially to Dr. Paris Baker and Jackie Catrabone, local residents who are contributing to this as well. We are very excited about your involvement in this endeavor. The plan that all of you develop will help us accomplish 3 things. First, encourage everyone in Erie to celebrate our rich cultural diversity. Second, help us fulfill our mission to build opportunity, restore hope, and transform Erie for all our residents. Because if not all of us, it's not for any of us. And finally, it will ensure that diversity, equity, and inclusion will happen in everything that we do here in Erie. That concludes this week's press conference. Everyone who spoke will be available for interviews. Please follow us on social media for the latest updates on everything that is happening in the city. And all you have to do is search City of Erie, PA on any major platform. Thanks again for watching today.